We can enter at any stage, and we can exit at any stage. We don't have to start on the left and then work our way all the way to the right before we exit. To give you some examples, I'll go from bottom to top. The last two, Clarient and Avid, were some exits that Safeguard had in the December timeframe of last year. Clarient, as you might remember, was once upon a time Chromavision Medical Systems. This was a failing legacy company in the portfolio when this management team came in at the end of 2005, the beginning of 2006. Now, as opposed to just selling this off, like we did with the other 11, we had a vision of taking the cellular imaging technology and using it to build a cancer diagnostic services business. We rebranded the business, Clarient, CLRT, and the Nasdaq. Brought in a strong management team headed by Ronnie Andrews, who did a marvelous job working with Safeguard to build the business from $11 million to $120 million in revenue. The company was making money, growing, and GE Healthcare found that to be a really strategic asset for them. As a matter of fact, they're advertising GE Healthcare on television, featuring that they can now diagnose cancer at the molecular level. That is Clarient. They're advertising Clarient. This was a $208 million of aggregate proceeds that Safeguard picked up from a series of exits in Clarient. That was the largest cash return in Safeguard's 58-year history, and actually it was a 5x increase in the value from the time we repositioned the business until the time we sold it to GE. So we were really pleased about that exit. Avid Radiopharmaceuticals was a developmental stage company with a diagnostics for neurodegenerative diseases, starting with Alzheimer's and dementia. They had proceeded through all three phases of the FDA, were going to an NDA, and Eli Lilly, that was a venture investor, a syndication partner at Avid, put an offer on the table that was really very strong. It was a 3x cash-on-cash return for Safeguard initially, but with an earnout that, if achieved, could be 8x. So we were really pleased with this exit as well. We had two exits so far in 2011, Advanced BioHealings and Portico Systems. Just to give you a case study on ABH, this was a regenerative medicines company that was once upon a time inside of the British firm Smith & Nephew. Smith & Nephew penetrated the marketplace to a small degree. They built a lavish, beautiful manufacturing facility in Southern California, but they never figured out the pricing and reimbursement model. So what did they do? They closed the whole business. They shut it down. Safeguard acquired the assets along with the syndication partner and worked with their management team as we hired back all the people and brought in a new management team. We worked with that CEO and his management team to redefine the pricing and reimbursement model, and they went back to the marketplace with their lead product, Dermograph, in 2007. This was a cellular-based artificial skin used for diabetic foot ulcer and burn patients. They increased their revenue from nothing in 2007 to $145 million in 2010 and filed an S1, and were getting ready to price an IPO when Shire came in and offered a 25% premium on the midpoint of that pricing range, and that was earlier this year. The aggregate proceeds for Safeguard on that was $145 million back for the $10.8 million we put in. That was over a 13 times cash-on-cash return, or a 90% IRR. That's the example of the 10-bagger. We won't do that every day, but this sure is nice when you do it. So we were just thrilled with how well ABH had built itself, and we're pleased to be a partner with them. Portico Systems was an IT healthcare firm with a piece of software that enabled health insurers to design, build, manage, reimburse, and support their healthcare provider networks. HIPAA mandates that the payer and provider of healthcare must use a commonality of data streams to protect the privacy of any patient. This regulatory compliance were among the things that Portico enabled. So they built a few dozen customers, including some big names, Cigna, the Big Blues, serving over 42 million members. The revenue increased significantly by double-digit rates from 2007 to 2011. They were recognized as a leader by the Inc. magazine, by Gartner Group, leadership in their space, and McKesson found that this was really a strategic asset for them. With that $90 million in cash, we're anticipating that's a 4 times cash-on-cash return for Safeguard, or a 36% IRR. So very strong performance for Portico and for Safeguard.